Greetings and blessings to you today. Greetings and blessings to you today. Of course, this is Stephen Evans here of Stephen Evans Consulting, LLC, in partnership podcast, Mindset Matters. Once again, greetings to you today and blessings. Again, this is Stephen Evans with Mindset Matters. I'm very proud to say that I am the CEO of Stephen Evans Consulting, LLC. And of course, our Mindset Matters podcast is coming to you in conjunction with two of my partners, two people that I absolutely love. And of course, you know I'm going to give them a shout out as I always do. And that is Mr. T. McBride. That's Mr. T. McBride and Mr. Alex Linares. Mr. T. McBride comes to us as the CEO of empoweredbyhope.org. Once again, that's Mr. T. McBride, empoweredbyhope.org. And of course, Mr. Alex Linares, he is the person who is responsible for everything that you're listening to today and bringing us together. For those who don't know Mr. Alex, please visit our website. Mr. Alex has served a number of schools and districts in the area of technology. He is, in my opinion, one of a kind. Of course, to Mr. McBride and Mr. Alex, you can forget about it, brothers. You know how I feel about you. I love you and thank you for your partnership in our Mindset Matters. Now, I do want to share this before I get into my sharing today. For those who are listening, if you have not had a chance, if you're new to Mindset Matters, if you have not visited our website, if you have not had a chance to partner with us, subscribe, I encourage you to do that today, to go back and look at all of the different postings that we have, because it doesn't matter who you are in leadership. And of course, if you've been following my podcast, I believe that each and every one of us are leaders. I believe that each and every one of us are leaders. It's got nothing to do with your position. It's got nothing to do with your, quote, job. I believe that every one of us are leaders, because I also believe that regardless, there is someone who is looking at you, watching you, and very well may be modeling themselves after you. So in the area of leadership and education, that's my focus, but I encourage you to go back and thinking about Empowered by Hope, empowerment. Please go back and take a look at all of our postings. I really believe that it's going to add a blessing to you in everything that you do. Wow. As I get into my sharing with you today, my focus is going to be entitled The Kindergartner and the Teacher. I'm going to say that again. The kindergartner and the teacher. Wow. Of course, all the information I'm bringing you today is based on some of the notes that I've kept over my 30 years of education and as a turnaround administrator. And this sharing right here came from my notes. It was quite emotional as I look back at this. And the thing that I can tell you about leadership, when you place yourself in leadership, if it's done right, you're going to be a blessing to someone, and someone is going to bless you. In this sharing about the kindergartner and the teacher, it was one of those things that I could not foresee that was coming. I don't think anyone could ever predicted the outcome, but it was just one of many powerful things as a leader that I had a chance to see, learn from, and grow from. I hope that you got that. It was one of those things in leadership that I was happy to be a part of, that I was able to observe, be a part of, learn from it, and grow. Now, I must say this about leadership. And please do not take this out of text. In leadership, it is important to know, because of the leadership placement, and all of us are leaders, please know that leaders are people who are constantly growing. Coming into leadership, it's not something that you come into and you have all of the answers. It doesn't work like that. I believe that anyone who is a parent could tell you that whenever a child comes into the picture, there is a whole bunch of variables, things that you never planned for, but as time goes on, you learn and you adjust and you grow. Your leadership, your mindset about things, it changes. A big thing about leadership is your mindset. The big thing about leadership is your mindset. And again, we are all leaders. So all of us need to be mindful of our mindset. Let me get into my sharing. As I have shared in other podcasts, I please do not turn me away, because I do share some things of faith-based. Please don't turn me away from that. Please don't turn me away from that. This is just my story, and the information that I'm sharing with you, if you can use it, put it in your repertoire. If you can't, fine. But you may want to use this as something to pull back if you ever need it. And this is just my story. And of course, I'm not going to mention any particular names due for confidentiality, locations, blase, 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 blase. Well, this was one of our turnaround programs. And of course, during this time, our school was growing quite significantly. And we continue to add rotations to each grade level. And we brought in a new kindergarten teachers. And as we always do at our campus, when we bring new people in, we do the best we can to bring them up to speed as quickly as possible. These are inner city Title I programs, and we don't have any students that we would frequently hear people say as bad. We don't see that. The students are not bad. These are little guys that's come to our program with strong personalities. In many of the communities that we've been so blessed to be a part of, the community had a strong personality. And so it was only fitting that we tried our best to find teachers that came in with strong personalities. Well, we brought this young lady in. I'm not going to disclose too much about her, but I could tell just a little bit that she was not a resident of this area. She did not look like the area that we were serving. I hope you understand that. But the thing that we saw in her was, and this is based on the feedback from our interview team, is that she had a strong disposition. She had a strong disposition. There was something about her. Well, as we began our school year, of course, all of our classrooms were filled. And since we had 4 rotations of kindergarten, that means you had 4 different classes of kindergarten. Our kindergartens were pretty much full, but we had filled the other 3 kindergartens. We did not want to overload her in our first year. So our other kindergartens had reached capacity when we found out, and this was after count day in October, that we were bringing on a new kindergartner who had signed up for us. Prior to the signing up with us, our counselor, of course, always does a beautiful job seeking information from the prior school about the incoming students. Is there anything that we need to be made aware of? Amen. And we were told that the young kindergartner coming in was a student that was as described, even though nothing had been done paperwork right, that he was could be described as oppositional defiant and also a select mute. Just to give you a little information about both of those, oppositional defiance and mute, select mute, without going into detail. Oppositional defiance is an individual that anytime they feel that compliance is not necessary, they can become defiant. And select mute is someone who has the ability to speak but chooses not to. In both of those situations, I believe that is manifested as a result of trauma. So we knew we had a little person coming into our program who had a traumatic background. And also from his record, he had had a very difficult time at 2 different schools. And I remind you, this is late October, and he's already been to 2 different schools. And he's coming into our program, which is, for any teacher or administrator and educator listening to this is a heads up. So in gathering this information, of course, we spoke to our kindergarten teachers, and due to the number of students in our classes and in compliance with classroom enrollment criteria, we had no other choice but to place the student in our youngest first-year kindergarten teacher classroom. When we shared with her that he was coming in all of his background, you could look in her face and you could tell that, I don't want to use the word reluctant, but her face indicated, I'm just going to say it like it is. I think her face indicated, like the same thing we saw during the interview, a strong personality and a strong disposition. She didn't seem to be moved at all by that. There was something, and I'm not going to attempt, amen, to describe what I saw in her, but she was in no way argumentative, questioned, reluctant. It was welcoming, amen. Welcoming. Well, of course, when we brought the student to our classroom in the early days, it was a very difficult struggle. Each day there were seemingly our dean support staff that was down there every single day for some reason. Transition of classes, instructional time, refusing to remove his jacket, reluctant to have anyone touch his backpack, refusing to sit in a chair. It was on and on and on in those several first days, several weeks. He came in as a high interest student. But we had a team of people who gathered around, and I learned very quickly of how strong and how loving this kindergarten teacher was. Each day when I would see her, she was keeping relentless notes about this student. I don't know where she learned it from. I don't know who taught her that. But she was documenting everything that he did, and she was coming in with a new strategy every day. And finally, after meeting with our deans and our social workers, and of course, they were following the guidelines of the program, she sat down with me and shared with me her thoughts. She said, Dr. Evans, he continues to refuse to sit in a seat, but when he's next to me, that seems to be a good place. I want to move his chair up here next to me. Approved. I don't know what it is about that backpack, but any time that you ask him to relinquish that backpack, he goes into hysteria. and shuts down for a long time. I want him to be able to keep his backpack next to me, which is in violation of our policy for safety reasons. I want him to be able to do that. And of course, I said that's under discussion, that there is a possibility. She continued by saying, anytime that we talk about going to specials, going to computer gym, outside time, whatever, he refuses to leave the classroom. He will walk with me, but he will not stay in those areas. And there's nothing I can do. He throws an absolute fit. I want to keep him with me. And of course I said, well, what about your lunchtime, your planning time? It doesn't matter. I want to keep him with me. I hope I can get through this. Approved. Making those just 3 adjustments. His day went from 90% negative to about 40% negative. When offered him the opportunity to sit next to her, even though he would not communicate, he sat next to her. When you told him not to give up his backpack, that he could keep it with him at his desk, that took a lot of stress off of him. When it was time to go to specials, art gym, music outside time, playground, recess, whatever, when he found out that he didn't have to stay unless he wanted to, that changed his whole persona of everything. Leadership. Mindset matters. After several weeks, I saw not only a visual change in him. I couldn't describe it, but I saw something changing in him. And I saw something changing in her. When I spoke to her about him and the improvements that he was making, when I asked her what has been done, blase, 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 this first grade teacher says, Dr. Evans, I don't know what has happened to that little boy. Wow. But there's something about him that I absolutely love. I think about him all the time. I'm going to try to get through this. I think about him all the time. And I wish he was mine. I think about him all the time. And I wish that he was mine. As the school year progressed, I saw him on the playground, in the art classes, gym class. There were times where he did not participate that he was there. He always had his backpack with him, and one of the agreements that she made with him, which I found out later, was that for a safety perspective, we had to check his backpack every day, which he complied with. His academics were steadily increasing. His oppositional defiance was diminishing. And again, his select mute. There was a couple students in class that he would communicate with. I could not believe what this young lady had done. Your mindset about people, your mindset about situations, and your love it will surpass people's understanding. Before the prayer of the year ended, we found out that the student had been transferred to an out-of-state school. It was revealed that the mother, as well as the child, had been exposed to extreme trauma from a spouse. And they had been running for safety reasons. We later found also the reason for him wanting to be with his teacher and not leaving at times was due to attachment issues. We also found out because of his change of environments so many times that everything that he had learned to love, his personal property, was in that book bag. And he held that sacredly. When the teacher shared what she did to all of our staff about that young man, and of course, all the teachers saw what she did. She changed that little boy's life. Mindset matter and leadership. Mindset matters and leadership. The staff sat quiet, almost as to say, how is it that a first-year teacher with no experience with Title I inner city at-risk children come into a place with such a heart, with so much understanding, sacrificing of time, sacrificing for one? How is it that she did that? And her words to us, I'm trying to get through this, is that I loved that little boy the first time I met him. Well, time went by. The little student was no longer with her. The following year, we heard nothing. We went on our ways and did what we do. We're standing on the playground. It must have been around the springtime in this state because the weather was absolutely beautiful and the kids were outside playing. And of course, I was out there with the teachers sitting on one of the benches, assisting with the supervision. And one of the deans had came out and posted me on the radio, Mr. Evans, there's someone here to see you, and Miss First Kindergarten teacher, are you available? I asked for more information, and wow, I'm trying to get through this. As we sit there and I saw the kindergarten teacher start moving in that direction, I observed a woman and a young man standing there, and I could see the kindergarten teacher begin to pick up her pace. She wasn't running, but she had significantly picked up her pace. And the little boy that was there, who was standing with his mother, began to run toward her. they embraced each other for a moment, and you could see the excitement. As I got closer, I recognized the woman of the kindergartner that we had several years back. That's all I'm going to be able to share about that. To the kindergarten teacher, if by some chance you're listening to this, to our administrative staff, our deans, support staff, counselors, who were all a part of this, as I've said in my prior podcast, I want to thank you for everything that you have done, that you did, for how you have blessed so many children, and how you have blessed me. In leadership, it has nothing to do with your age. It has nothing to do with your title. It has nothing to do with your educational experience. It has all to do with your heart and your mindset. Your heart and your mindset. Your heart about situations, your heart about people, your mindset about situations, your mindset about people. To those who are listening to this, I hope that you're gathering a better understanding about your leadership. And all of us are leaders. And I'm hoping that you're gathering a better understanding about your mindset. I also am prayerful that you're more understanding about your heart, about your mindset, I'm going to say that again, and your leadership. If you hadn't subscribed with us, I'm asking you today if you would please subscribe. Please leave us a comment as to the information that was shared today. I sincerely thank you for listening, of course, to Mr. Alex, Mr. McBride. Thank you for your partnership. I leave with these words: your mindset matters. In every situation that you may confront, may have to, quote, deal with, your success within those situations much has to do with your mindset. Have a great day. Thank you for listening.